the the key is to migrate to where extroverts aren't at, and then you can hear yourself think,
What the fuck?
Abe,
Exclusive.
Abe, we're trying to introvert. Get out.
Kick him out.
Fuck you.
We're trying to introvert Abe. I kicked him.
Yeah, so what were you saying?
Oh, I just I figured if there's anything we wanted to talk about pertaining to the INFJ life, you could do that from the comfort of a somewhat quiet room.
You have this vibe to your voice, kind of like when you get into a massage saloon, where they just try to,
The talking with famous people, INFJ radio voice is what that is.
Please take your coat off.
Wait, what?
Like kind of when you're walking into a saloon and they just tell you,
Okay.
please take your coat off and relax. It's going to be an enjoyable evening.
Please relax into your seats as we prepare the current presentation. Yeah. Yeah, I find that when I see INFJs with a 5, I sort of feel the compulsion to, like, it's not a physical nest, but I feel like crafting an aura of a nest. I'm like, here, look, it's safe, it's comfortable here.
Do you often meet this type in real life?
I think, I mean, out of the INFJs that I've met, I'd say more often than not, yeah.
I see.
I see 549s. I think I have only met one INFJ that maybe had an 8 fix, but I'm not convinced that he had an 8 fix. He might have been like a 9-wing 8, possibly.
I see. I think my friend, I have an INFJ friend, but I think he's not like me. More like a 9-2, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there is a difference. Like I'm very information heavy, and he's more like aspirational.
Mm-hmm.
So I see a difference. Still easy to talk to. And he kind of have, I don't know about your life. Do you have a slow pace generally?
Could you repeat that?
Yeah, I'm asking, like generally about your life. Do you feel you're in a small pace, like moving slowly and like you know where you're headed, but not rushing to do anything?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting Facebook messages from Abe now. He's telling me, fuck you. Yeah.
Is he an ENFJ?
Actually, we thought he was ENFJ, but I'm thinking it's more accurate that he's ESFJ.
I see.
He likes to come around and get wonderful TI from the INTPs. They'll just say things that are like, I don't think that's consistent, and he's just like, damn, what the fuck, man. Like you could just be talking some TI stuff, and he's like, damn.
I see.
But
I feel like, yeah, when I've talked to this friend, the difference that I notice is he's like totally fascinated by how much I know, and like he could mention something and I've already read it or I already know it somehow.
Yeah.
And but I noticed that like I already switched like 10 different thoughts and kind of 10 different things that I mentioned. He's still kind of catching up. So I definitely notice a difference in pace.
Yeah. From what I understand, it's interesting seeing the two of you because you both have 9 in your tri-type, but they're both at the back as compared to being at the front. Like I'm wondering the difference, just like how different it is, because I mean we're all intuitives, but 9s still get considered as body types, as being identified in their bodies, and then like 5s are head types and whatnot. And I don't know. I'm still not sure how much the difference matters.
Do you know there's a channel with this INFJ girl. I think her videos are really awesome. Wendy's?
Oh yeah, when's this?
Yeah, I think she's a 9, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, a lot of her stuff is action oriented.
Is a 9 action oriented?
9s are body types, and 8, 9s, and 1s are all concerned with action of some sort. 9s, the way they sort of get a raw deal is that they do more suppressing of their energy than anything else. That's sort of the 9 problem. 1s sort of outsource their energy to an ideal. So it's like with 1s, you know, they'll be focused on action, but you know, if you do like an action wrong, or if they do an action wrong, there's this, you know, reaction of like, oh, you know, you did it wrong. It's like it's like, why did you, you know, you do a certain thing, and they're like, well, why did you do that? You know, it's like, it's more
Very
outsourced.
controlled.
Well, it's more outsourced to an ideal. I don't think it's so much that they're wanting to control people as much as I think there's a certain degree of control, but I think people get tied up into that to the extent that people's actions conflict with their ideal.
Mm-hmm.
And then 8s, on the other hand, they take that sort of personal energy, and they seem to just, you know, use their anger to push outwards, away from themselves. So something I think is interesting is, as I said, the 1s seem to outsource it in a way. 9s seem to disengage, but a thought I had recently is that 8s seem like they start from somewhere vulnerable, and then they push out because they don't want to be seen as vulnerable. They don't want to be taken advantage of. So they're pushing. 8s are, you know, they're going on the offensive so that they don't, like I've heard it said, they're trying to leave a mark before a mark can get, you know, made on them.
I see.
But I was thinking about 9s on the other hand, and it seems like it's more
More visionary in terms of like you want to actually build something or make people unite or something like that.
I wasn't even going to say that. I was saying like I was attaching it more to energy of action. I was saying like 8s seem more reactively assertive to like an inner vulnerability, whereas I'd almost paint it as like 9s being reactively reactively dissipating their internal assertiveness. Like if a 9 has an initial reaction of being ready to push, or like they feel that energy of like, I am going to assert or whatnot, I think they overestimate the damage or the effect that it'll have for them to essentially express themselves. So they sort of try to dissipate that energy or sort of, dissolve it or disengage from it, because I think they're worried about the effect that they'll have. So it's sort of like the opposite of an 8 in some ways.
Mm-hmm. Kind of overestimating the effect that you can have on people, like that you have your FC like ESTP.
Yeah, you might even be able to say it's like a concern that if you push back the way that you want to push back, people are going to break.
Mm. Well, yeah, I can relate to that a bit.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Yeah, but mostly like if I'm dealing with people, yes, most of the prominent thing that I have is like I want to help them, but still in a way that like I can want to help them with information.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of I need to read myself of it, and sometimes I feel like I'm overdoing it. So it kind of expresses itself, manifests like an INTP. Like I can shoot a random fact, and like somebody would be drinking an espresso, and I said, "Do you know this is full of magnesium?"
Mm-hmm.
And they would go like, "Well, that's okay, the best way to ruin my coffee routine." Totally disinterested and
yeah.
Jesse, what about you?
Huh?
Mm.
Just spacing out so I didn't hear everything.
I was asking how do you deal with information, and how do you generally present yourself on people? Do you try to rid yourself of information that you learned, or help them somehow with information?
When people give me some information on, well, it will take a while for me to understand that. And if you give me too much information, I get so tired. And yeah, it takes some energy. And yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I'm pretty bad to explain things, and my English is not that good either. So
No problem.
Yeah.
I think when I deal with ENTPs, I definitely first feel intrigued just because there's some, so I see the potential in there. But at the same time, I get fatigued really quickly just from the tons of information they dump on me.
Yeah, my boyfriend do that to me sometimes. So, yeah.
Yeah, I used to date an ENFP, and same thing. Like I would just get overwhelmed with stories and how they had to tell.
Well, my little sister is in ENFP too, so yeah, I can relate.
I see. And what's a 6, Ken?
Oh, 6?
Yeah.
Gets labeled as like the skeptic, I like the questioner. Doubt and anxiety are key features for 6. They like to gauge the trust of people around them. It seems like particularly counterphobic 6s, which are, I think, normally like sexual variants. Counterphobic 6s are the ones you see sort of in an 8-like way, acting out of fear That's what the 8s are doing necessarily, but like this, like counterphobic 6s, they'll be afraid of something, and then they reactively push to try to conquer that fear. It's like they'll push to kind of show that it doesn't hold them, or that they're not going to be taken down by it. I don't necessarily understand the counterphobic stance as much, because I'm not counterphobic. I'm just the more normal phobic 6, which is I have to work harder, or I have to make more of an effort to actually confront and conquer my fears regarding things. However, I would say that conquering fear is certainly a part of being 6. In fact, I'd say like a sort of virtue, if you would, of engaging 6 energy in a positive way would be courage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like I can relate to many of them, so I'm not sure. I feel like I can find myself in every type there with Enneagram. So either it's kind of changing, or I just don't believe it somehow.
I mean, as far as the wings go, like, I don't know if you've thought you could be like 5-wing 4 or 5-wing 6 or whatnot, but I think if you were 5-wing 6, you might feel a bit of that 6 connection, but in a 5 way, where you're like trying to test information or whatnot, to sort of you apply that, like if you were a 5-wing 6, you'd like apply that sort of trust gauging only as it pertained to information, I think.
Like we're looking for something audible, or?
Yeah, like 5-wing 6s, I think, get drawn to academia, or rather, like they might get drawn to a science where they can like test their work to like be able to find out whether or not they can trust the information.
Yeah, I see. I'm not sure. I definitely see that. Like I'm more into social things. Like in a sense, when they get very empirical and there's tons of data, I might get lost in that instance. Yeah, I just need something to validate it against, not just handle it all in air.
Yeah.
What did you think about the test on Facebook about something like dopamine dominated and this kind of thing?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Of course, I had issue with the questions just because they're like, true or false, and most of the time whenever I'm answering questions, I have it in my head, 3 other questions that need to be asked along with that one question. Like you can have a question that's like, are you outgoing? And then I immediately think to myself, well, there's other things to consider, like when and in what way,
Yeah.
Am I outgoing all the time? No. Have I been outgoing most of my life? It highly depends on in what environment. If I've disengaged before with TWFP and spent like a week and a half just playing Skyrim or something, wasn't outgoing during that period of time, but I've also gotten on here and talked for 13 hours on camera before in a single day. So it's like,
did it happen?
Just because I do one doesn't mean I'm not going to do the other.
Are you video games?
Yeah, I haven't been playing video games as much recently, but I certainly have them. I played them a lot more during my teenage years, and even Like I mean, I played them a lot more even like just some months ago, but since I found TWFP, I've been playing them less just because.
More interesting.
Yeah.
Has it always been like that? Quiet in here mostly, or is it just depends on the time?
Depends on the time. There's certainly time. If you come around later at night, like after people get off work, it's typically louder and a lot more action going on. And when I say people getting off work, typically like you might not notice it because I think it's probably during a time in which you're sleeping. Like it might be around like 3 a.m. for you.
Yeah,
Uh,
I see.
yeah, but I normally like being up around this time because I gotta hang out with the European crowd a bit more.